Arnold Schwarzenegger stands backstage at his first major competition in 1968 London when his childhood hero, Reg Park, looks at his physique and says, "You're built like a strongman, not a bodybuilder. You'll never win aesthetic contests." 45 minutes later, Arnold gives his answer. London, England, September 1968. Saturday afternoon, 2:15 p.m. The backstage area of the Victoria Palace Theatre has been transformed into a temporary pump room for the NABBA Mr. Universe competition. This is not Gold's Gym. This is not a purpose-built athletic facility. This is a theater converted for one weekend into the battleground for the most prestigious amateur bodybuilding title in the world. The pump room is actually a large rehearsal space normally used by dancers and actors. Hardwood floor. Mirrors along one wall. Portable weight equipment brought in for the day. Dumbbells ranging from 10 to 100 pounds lined up against the wall. A few adjustable benches. Nothing fancy, just functional. The space smells like theatrical makeup mixed with sweat and liniment oil. Fluorescent tubes buzz overhead. Outside, London is gray and drizzling. Inside, 23 competitors from 11 countries are preparing to step on stage. Arnold Schwarzenegger sits on a folding chair near the far corner, away from the clusters of competitors who have formed into small groups by nationality or training affiliation. He's 21 years old, 235 pounds. His skin is bronzed with that artificial tan that looks garish in normal light but transforms under stage spotlights. He's wearing only his posing trunks and a thin cotton robe draped loosely over his shoulders. His hair is thick, dark, swept back. He looks focused, but there's something else underneath. Nervousness. Anticipation. This is his first major international competition. His first time competing for the Mr. Universe title. Everything he's worked towards since he was 15 years old has led to this moment in this room. He's been training for this specific competition since January. 9 months of preparation. 6 days a week. Sometimes 7. 2 sessions a day when he could manage it. Every set, every rep, every meal calculated toward this single goal. When the amateur Mr. Universe proved that a kid from Thal, a village of 2,000 people in rural Austria, can compete with and defeat the best amateur bodybuilders in the world. The prize isn't money. There is no prize money in amateur competition. The prize is validation, recognition, proof, and the attention of Joe Weider, the American magazine publisher who has the power to bring promising bodybuilders to America and launch professional careers. Arnold knows all of this. He studied bodybuilding history the way other people study academic subjects. He knows every Mr. Universe winner going back to 1950. He knows their measurements, their training routines, their competition records. And he knows Reg Park, his hero, his idol, the man whose photographs Arnold first saw in a magazine when he was 15 years old and decided, in that moment, that this was what he wanted to become. Reg Park, 3-time Mr. Universe champion, 1958, 1960, 1965. Massive, aesthetic, powerful. The complete package. The ideal. Arnold has studied Reg Park's routines so obsessively he could recite them from memory. Has posed in front of mirrors trying to replicate Reg Park's exact positions. Has visualized himself becoming Reg Park. And today, right now, in this room, Reg Park is here. Arnold saw him when he first arrived. Reg Park isn't competing. He's retired from competition. But he's here as a guest, walking through backstage, offering encouragement to competitors, serving as a living legend, a reminder of what championship bodybuilding looks like. He's 40 years old now, still impressively built, still moving with that particular confidence that comes from years at the top of a sport. Arnold has been watching him from across the room for the past 20 minutes, trying to decide whether to approach, whether to introduce himself, whether to tell his hero that he's been the inspiration for everything Arnold has done for the past 6 years. Finally, Arnold decides. He stands, tightens the robe around himself, walks across the pump room. His heart is pounding, not from physical exertion, from the particular nervousness of meeting someone who has occupied mythological status in your mind for years. Reg Park is standing near the mirror, talking to two British competitors. Arnold approaches, waits politely for a pause in the conversation, then speaks. His English is heavily accented but clear enough. Mr. Park. Reg turns, looks at Arnold, smiles politely. The smile of someone who has been approached by dozens of young bodybuilders over the years. Yes. Arnold extends his hand. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Austria. I've studied all your routines. Everything you've done. You're the reason I started bodybuilding. I want to be like you. He says this with complete sincerity, complete honesty, the kind of raw admiration that only comes from someone young enough to still have heroes. Reg shakes his hand. His grip is firm. Professional. Austria. Good. Strong tradition there. He releases Arnold's hand. His eyes move down, assessing, taking in Arnold's physique even through the robe. Arnold can feel the evaluation happening, can feel Reg Park's eyes cataloging his development, his proportions, his potential. The smile changes. Still there, but different now. Less warm, more analytical, almost amused. Reg says, "You're competing today?" Arnold nods. "Yes, sir. Amateur division." Reg nods slowly. "How old are you?" 21. Reg makes a small sound. Not quite a laugh. Not quite a scoff. Something between 21 and already. He pauses, looks Arnold up and down again. "You're built like a strongman, not a bodybuilder." The words hit Arnold like a physical blow. He doesn't understand immediately, doesn't process the full meaning. Just hears his hero, the man whose poster was on his bedroom wall for 6 years, saying something that sounds wrong. Reg continues, his voice casual, conversational, the tone of someone offering helpful advice. "You're too blocky. No flow. Look at your structure." He gestures vaguely at Arnold's torso. "You've built mass. That's clear. But bodybuilding isn't about mass. It's about aesthetics, proportion, flow from one muscle group to the next. You look like you train for powerlifting, like you're built to move heavy weight. That's not what judges are looking for." Arnold's face is getting hot. He can feel the blood rushing to his cheeks. His throat is tight. He manages to say, quietly, "I've been training specifically for aesthetics. I've studied." Reg interrupts gently, not aggressively, just the way someone interrupts a child who doesn't understand something obvious. "I know you think you have, but your frame, some things are genetic. Some things you can't change. Your structure is thick, dense. You'll never have the kind of flow that wins aesthetic competitions. You'll never look like." He pauses, then finishes the thought with devastating clarity. "You'll never look like a Mr. Universe champion. Not with that frame." He says this kindly, like he's doing Arnold a favor by being honest. Like he's saving Arnold years of wasted effort chasing something impossible. "You should consider powerlifting. Or strongman. You have the build for it. You'd probably excel. But aesthetic bodybuilding." He shakes his head slowly. "That's not your path. Trust me. I've been doing this for 20 years. I can see these things." Arnold stands there, frozen. His hero, the man he's worshipped for 6 years, the man whose training philosophy he's followed religiously, just told him he's built wrong, that his genetics are wrong, that his dream is impossible, that he should quit bodybuilding and do something else. The two British competitors who were talking to Reg are still standing nearby. They heard everything. One of them glances at Arnold with something like pity. The other looks away uncomfortably. Arnold's voice comes out hoarse. I've been preparing for 9 months. For this competition." Reg nods sympathetically. "And I'm sure you'll do fine. Gain experience. Learn what championship bodybuilding looks like. But don't expect to win. Not today. Probably not ever at this level. It's just your structure. Nothing personal. Just genetics." He pats Arnold on the shoulder. The same kind of pat you'd give someone you're letting down gently. Good luck today. Enjoy the experience. Reg turns back to the British competitors. Resumes his previous conversation. Arnold is dismissed. The interaction is over. Arnold stands there for 3 more seconds. Then turns. Walks back to his corner. His mind is racing. Spinning. Trying to process what just happened. Reg Park. His hero. The man he's modeled his entire approach after. Just told him he's not good enough. Will never be good enough. That his body is fundamentally wrong for the sport he's dedicated his life to. He sits down on the folding chair. His hands are shaking slightly. Not from anger. From shock. From the particular devastation of having a deeply held belief suddenly challenged by the person you believed in most. He's been so certain. So absolutely convinced that he was on the right path. That his training was working. That his development was championship quality. And now Reg Park, who would know better than anyone, has told him it's not. That he's wrong. That his 6 years of work have been based on a fundamental misunderstanding of his own genetic potential. Other competitors are warming up around him, doing light sets with dumbbells, practicing poses in front of the mirror, the usual pre-competition ritual. Arnold just sits there, staring at the floor, replaying the conversation. Built like a strongman. Too blocky. No flow. You'll never win aesthetic contests. The words loop in his mind like a record skipping. Part of him wants to leave. Walk out of the theater. Go back to Austria. Accept that he was wrong. That his dream was based on self-delusion. That Reg Park, with 20 years of experience, can see what Arnold couldn't see about his own body. But another part of him, a deeper part, is starting to feel something else. Not acceptance. Anger. Not hot anger. Cold anger. The kind that clarifies instead of confuses. The kind that focuses instead of scatters. Arnold looks up. Across the room. Reg Park is still there. Still talking to competitors. Still offering advice. Still being the legend. Still being right about everything because he's Reg Park and he's always been right about everything. Arnold stares at him. And something hardens inside Arnold's chest. A decision forming without words. Without conscious thought. Just a deep, fundamental refusal. Refusal to accept that assessment. Refusal to believe that his hero's judgment is more accurate than his own experience. Refusal to quit. Arnold stands. Shrugs off the rope. Picks up a pair of 50-pound dumbbells. Starts doing lateral raises. Lightweight. High reps. Getting blood flowing into his shoulders. Warming up the muscle tissue. Preparing his body for the stage. Not because he thinks he'll win. Not because he believes Reg Park is wrong. But because he's here. Because he's prepared. Because 45 minutes from now his number will be called, and he'll step onto that stage regardless of what Reg Park thinks his genetics allow. He'll perform. He'll show what he's built. And the judges will decide. Not Reg Park. The judges. Franco Columbu appears beside him. Franco, his training partner, his closest friend, the one person who understands what Arnold is feeling because Franco has his own dreams, his own struggles, his own battles with people who tell him he's too short, too small, that his frame is wrong. Franco speaks quietly in German, their private language. I saw you talking to Reg Park. What did he say? Arnold doesn't stop his lateral raises. Just keeps moving. Controlled reps. Breathing steady. He said I'm too blocky. That I'll never win aesthetic competitions. That I should do powerlifting instead. Franco is silent for 2 seconds. Then, fuck him. Arnold glances at Franco. Franco's face is serious. Fuck him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's looking at you with 1,960 eyes. The sport is changing. You're what it's changing into. He just can't see it yet because he's old and his time is over. Arnold sets down the dumbbells. He's Reg Park. Franco nods. And you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. In 5 years, people will know your name better than his. In 10 years, they'll have forgotten he existed. But only if you don't let him kill your confidence right now. Right here. 45 minutes before you compete. Arnold looks back at Reg Park across the room. then looks at Franco, nods slowly, picks up heavier dumbbells, 70 pounds each, starts doing shoulder presses. Franco grins. That's it. Show them. 30 minutes later, the competitors are called to line up. Arnold takes his place in the staging area just behind the curtain. He can hear the audience beyond. Maybe 800 people in the theater. The sound is a low murmur. Conversations. Anticipation. The competitors ahead of him step through the curtain one by one as their numbers are called. Then it's Arnold's turn. Number 17, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Austria. He steps through the curtain onto the stage. The lights hit him. Bright. Hot. Blinding for 2 seconds until his eyes adjust. The audience is a dark mass beyond the spotlights. The judges' table is directly in front of the stage. 5 judges. Notebooks. Pens. Serious expressions. Arnold walks to his position. Stands at attention. Relaxed pose. Waiting for instructions. The head judge calls the first mandatory pose. Front lat spread. Arnold doesn't just hit the pose. He performs it. He raises his arms slowly, dramatically, creating anticipation. Then flares his lats wide. The muscle spreads, wider than any of the other competitors. The separation between his back and his waist creates that coveted V-taper. He's not blocky. He's structured. The judges lean forward slightly. Writing. Arnold holds the pose. Not grimacing. Not straining. Just controlled. Professional. He learned this from watching Reg Park's competition footage. Learned that performance is as important as physique. Then he learned to do it better. Next pose. Side chest. Arnold turns. 90 degrees. Brings his right arm across his body. Flexes his chest. The muscle contracts into a mass of striated tissue. His chest isn't blocky. It's detailed. Every fiber visible. The separation so clear you could trace individual muscles with your eyes. He holds it. The audience murmurs. Appreciation. Recognition. Arnold relaxes. Returns to attention. Waits for the next call. This continues through all the mandatory poses. Back double bicep. His back isn't thick and shapeless. It's a Christmas tree of muscle. Deep spinal erectors. Wide lats. Distinct teres major. Clear rhomboid development. Every muscle group defined and separated. Abdominal and thigh. His abs aren't hidden by bulk. They're carved. 6 distinct segments. Intercostal muscles visible between his ribs. His thighs showing the teardrop vastus medialis that judges love. Most muscular. Arnold brings his fists together in front of his chest. Flexes everything simultaneously. His traps rise like mountains. His chest swells. His abs tighten. The total package. Not a strongman. A bodybuilder. An aesthetic bodybuilder. Exactly what Reg Park said he could never be. Comparisons are called. Arnold is paired with different competitors. British athletes. A South African. A German. Each time, Arnold's flow is visible. His transitions smooth. His posing artistic. Not mechanical. Not robotic. Not memorized moves by a strongman. Artistic. The kind of posing that makes bodybuilding look like sculpture in motion instead of just muscle display. The judges are writing constantly. Discussing quietly. The crowd is responding. Not with wild cheering. British audiences are reserved. But with murmurs. With the sound people make when they see something unexpected. Something special. Prejudging ends. Arnold walks off stage. His heart is pounding now. Not from nervousness. From adrenaline. From performance high. From the knowledge that he just did everything perfectly. That whatever happens next, he performed at his absolute peak. Franco is waiting backstage. Grabs him. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Reg Park is watching. Did you see him? He was watching. Arnold hadn't seen him. Hadn't been looking for him. Had been too focused on the judges, on his performance, on executing everything exactly as he'd prepared. 4 hours later. Evening show. The finals. Arnold performs his posing routine to music. 90 seconds choreographed to showcase his best angles. His best transitions. The routine flows. Each pose melts into the next. No awkward moments. No hesitation. Just smooth, controlled, artistic presentation. The crowd applauds. Real applause. Sustained applause. Arnold walks off stage. Waits with the other competitors for the final results. The judges deliberate. 15 minutes. Then all competitors are called back on stage. They line up. Arnold stands in the middle. The head judge takes the microphone. Announces the results in reverse order. 5th place. 4th place. 3rd place. 2nd place. Then, and your 1968 NABBA Mr. Universe Amateur Champion, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Austria. The crowd erupts. Arnold steps forward. The trophy is presented. Large. Heavy. Ornate. The thing he's been working toward for 6 years. Proof. Validation. Evidence that Reg Park was wrong. That his genetics aren't wrong. That his structure isn't blocky. That his flow is championship level. That he can win aesthetic competitions. That he did win an aesthetic competition. The most prestigious amateur title in the sport. Backstage afterward, Arnold is surrounded by competitors, officials, photographers. Everyone wants to shake his hand, congratulate him, ask about his training. Then the crowd parts slightly. Reg Park approaches. Arnold sees him. Their eyes meet. Reg's expression is complicated. Not angry. Not defensive. Something else. He walks up to Arnold. Extends his hand. Arnold takes it. Reg speaks quietly. Just loud enough for Arnold to hear. I was wrong. Arnold doesn't respond immediately. Just listens. Reg continues. What I said earlier. About your structure. About you being too blocky. I was looking at you through old eyes. I was seeing what bodybuilding was. Not what it's becoming. You proved me wrong. Tonight. On stage. You're the future of this sport. I just couldn't see it this afternoon. Arnold nods slowly. Thank you for saying that. Reg smiles. Different smile now. Genuine. Respectful. You earned that trophy. I've been watching bodybuilding for 20 years. What you showed tonight, that's championship quality. Keep training. Keep developing. You're going to do things in this sport that I never could. He pauses. I'm sorry I said you should quit. You should never quit. Arnold says quietly, you're still my hero. Even after this afternoon. Even after what you said. You're still the reason I started. But now I know something I didn't know before. Reg asks, what's that? Arnold looks at the trophy in his hand. Then back at Reg, heroes are human. They can be wrong. And that's okay. Because if they're wrong about you, it means you can prove them wrong. And proving people wrong is one of the best feelings in the world. Reg laughs. Real laugh. Not dismissive. Not mocking. Just honest appreciation. You're right. And I just learned something too. Never underestimate the kid with something to prove. He shakes Arnold's hand again. Firmer this time. See you in America. Because you're going. Joe Weider is here tonight. He saw what I saw. He's going to offer you a contract. Then Reg walks away. Back into the crowd. Gone. Franco appears. Grinning. What did he say? Arnold tells him. Franco nods. Good. He should apologize. Now what? Arnold looks at the trophy. Then at the crowd of people waiting to talk to him. Then back at Franco. Now we do it again. Bigger stage. Professional division. America. Franco's grin gets wider. Fuck yes. 1 year later, Arnold wins his first professional Mr. Universe. 2 years later, he wins his first Mr. Olympia. 10 years later, he's the most famous bodybuilder in the world. Reg Park's name is still known, still respected in bodybuilding history. But it's Arnold Schwarzenegger that people think of when they think of championship bodybuilding. Not Reg Park. The student surpassed the teacher. Because the student refused to believe the teacher when the teacher said he couldn't. Years later, Arnold would tell this story to young bodybuilders. Never to humiliate Reg Park. Always with respect. But always to make a point. Your heroes will disappoint you. They'll misunderstand you. They'll tell you you're not built right. You don't have the genetics. You should quit. And you have two choices. Believe them. Or prove them wrong. I chose to prove them wrong. Not with anger. Not with argument. With performance. With undeniable, perfect performance. That's the only answer that matters. Who told you you're built wrong? Who told you your genetics won't allow it? Who told you to quit and try something else? Because maybe they're right. Or maybe they're looking at you with old eyes. With yesterday's standards. With their own limitations projected onto your potential. And the only way to find out which is true is to ignore them and perform anyway. Let the results speak. Let the work speak. And if they were wrong, they'll apologize. And if they were right, at least you tried. But most of the time, they're wrong. Because people's imagination about what's possible is usually much smaller than what's actually possible. And the people who change the world are the ones who ignored the heroes who told them to stop.